Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Dean Martin, King of Cool, and this new documentary from director Tom Donahue focuses on the story of Dean Martin. And that's the thing, this is a very straightforward kind of biopic. Like this biographical documentary, it is his story, basically from start to finish, but what I appreciate most about this film is the amount of heart and love that gets injected into this film for Dean Martin. And it does look at some of his, not exactly most positive aspects of his life, decisions that he made, how he handled some of his relationships. Maybe how, like, when his kids were younger, he was not the most present of fathers, potentially, or, how he handled his marriages. But it hits on those things. But what this spends a lot of time on is really looking at the impact and the connections that Dean Martin made throughout his life. And I learned a lot from this documentary because, here's the thing. Growing up in an Italian-American household, with my grandparents, with my grandfather being a full-blooded first-generation American Italian, you basically only listen to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, when my grandpa put on music in the house. And it's like that kind of... There's a special connection there as an Italian-American, and especially as, I know I'm a younger Italian-American who grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, but spending so much of my life with my grandparents, having that connection to how much Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin meant to Italian Americans, and my mom grew up watching his shows and stuff like that. I'll see her posting on Facebook old clips from all those variety shows and those roasts. But this film had a very special connection to me, and even though I didn't grow up with all of this stuff in its own time, this kind of stuff was passed along to me. And I love Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin's music. They were extremely talented people. And this film really focuses on, you know Dean Martin was a great singer. You know his music. This film actually didn't focus a whole lot on, his songs and stuff like that. It was so much more about the human connections that he made along the way. You learn about the relationship he had with his parents. And, it was interesting because they made this very much like a Citizen Kane type kind of film where it's what was his rosebud? Because that's the thing. Where Frank was somebody out and about and just living his life, the high life, Dean Martin was not somebody that you got to know. He was the guy who was sitting watching the Andy Griffith Show on the TV in his bedroom while everybody was out in his own home having a party. He was the one that said, F you, Frank, and would go to bed at 10 o'clock and not go out all night and party with him. It was a very interesting thing to learn that there's such a dichotomy here. And learning a lot more about his relationship and very complicated story with Jerry Lee Lewis. And Jerry Lewis, mixing people up now, Jerry Lewis, and then his much more interesting relationship with Frank Sinatra than I know from my perspective that I knew, and learning about his code that he had and how he would make deals for his TV shows with a handshake. And you knew he meant his word. And I think the most impressive thing about this film is the wide breadth and just amassing of talented people and real people they got to talk about Dean Martin in this film. Listening to Norman Lear, Florence Henderson, that was wonderful. Listening to Florence Henderson talk, Regis, Deana Martin, I think was really special getting to hear so much from her because she got to bring a very different perspective from a lot of the other people because, it's his daughter. And, you had all of these people throughout this film. And not only, like, you get these perspectives from these people, but, like, they had such a great collection of clips from all of his shows, his variety shows, and, like, they're entertaining and great. And you get to see clips of them all spliced together with all this great commentary. This documentary is very old school biopic documentary, but there's so much special in it. And I really enjoyed this. I might have enjoyed this more than most people might enjoy this because I do have a connection to this. But I think this documentary does a wonderful job of painting the picture of, like, this was a special human being that made an impact on a lot of people. He wasn't perfect. And, you know, we're not going to spend too much time trying to have, like, this hard look at this man. But what it does show is there was so much heart and love and connection that he made with so many people that it was a special kind of story to listen to and to watch in this film. So if you get a chance to check this out from TCM, definitely do so. I definitely recommend Dean Martin, King of Cool. But those are my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.